This is the LIVEN Bass and Beats. It is both a monophonic synth designed to make basses and it is also a drum machine where each kit can have 16 different sounds. It can play the bass pattern and the drum pattern simultaneously. Each pattern can be up to 64 steps and they don't have to be both the same length. It can do knob automations, it had different effects that can affect both the bass and the drums, and at some point I will do a complete review tutorial on it. But for today, as I'm still getting familiar with it, I'd like to create a loop with you to show the workflow and how it is to work with it, how to navigate around the different parts of this machine. So first, I think we need a drum kit. So I'll select the drums, function and kit to select the kits, and then you can use the value knob to cycle through the different kits. You can see they are all arranged by genre. But what if we want to create our own drum kit? For this, you can use the function button with the edit kit button here. Select the bank you want to work on. So I'll select another bank with the arrows there. Let's say bank 6. Select a new one at the end and press OK to enter that. We are now in edit mode for the drums, so we can use a special layout because all the buttons just have changed their functions. In there, you can select each pad you want to work on, and for each pad, you can select different sounds. They are arranged in different banks. A bank for the kicks, for the snares, for the hats, for the cymbals, the percussion 1 and 2, and the SFX. So for the kick, let's say I want a kick, and I can use the value knob to select the one I want. For the snare, I can go in the snares and select it with the value knob. The same for the hats, I can go in the hats to select the one I want, etc. So you can build your own kit with that. From there you can edit each sound, like on several pads I've put the same sound. So I can edit them individually by changing the pitch, for example. In this section you can also change kind of the envelope of this sound. So if I want to make it snappier, I can use the time and the slope knobs. This machine also has effects, so you can choose which pad will be affected by those effects once you are in the performance mode. Let's say I want to send all my sounds to the effects except for the kick. So I will select each one, and with the Send Effects knob I can choose how strong the effects will be for this particular sound. So I will put a small amount for each of them and set the kick to 0. And you also have an equalizer to equalize the drum kit as a whole. With the low pass filter here, 2-point EQs and a high shelf there. You have the frequency on the first row and the gain on the second row. Once you're done editing your kit, you can save it by pressing OK. It will say save, and then you can choose where you want to save it. You can now rename the preset and press OK to save it. Now it's done and you're back to the performance mode, so you don't need that overlay anymore. So now let's write a pattern. So for that I need a new pattern slot, so I will press pattern, and with the value knob I will select a slot that is not used yet. This one is empty, so we can start. With the left and right arrows you can select which sound you are editing, so let's put the kick first. I will activate the writing mode and select where I want to put my kicks. Then I can select my snare and put my snares. The same for the hi-hats. And you can go on with each sound in your kick. If you don't want to use the arrows to select your sound, you can also use the white keys there for the kick, snare, hi-hat, etc. Once your pattern is written, you can still change the kit to see how it sounds with different kits. Now let's see for the bass. To select a bass, you can press the bass button, and then you can use this button that says memory to change the sound of your bass. They are actually sorted in different banks, so to change the bank you are looking at, you can use the shift button with the same knob. The second function says bank there. Now let's change the length for this pattern for the bass. I want to do 2 bars. So for that you use the function button and the key that says pattern bass. You'd have different options in it. The first one is the length, so you can change the length there. So to record a pattern, you can play the loop and press record, so it will record as you play. But let's say I want to record a pattern step by step. So let's clear all that. I will press the clear button and select the pad I want to clear. And as the pattern is 2 bars, I can see the different bars using these buttons. Right now I'm on the second bar and this is the first bar, so I can erase that as well. Now it's empty, so let's record that step by step. I will go on the first page, first step. If you want to do a long note, you have to activate the tie function. This is function plus tie here. Deactivate, reactivate. So I will use some long and short notes there. First a long note on the first step, let's say A, and I want it to go until there. So here the first note will be 3 steps long. Okay, so let's continue. So now we have a bass recorded and a drum loop recorded, and from there we can do different things. You have a mixer here to change the volume of the bass and the drum independently. You can select the bass or the drums to change the function of these buttons in the center. When you have the bass selected, the 3 knobs allow you to change the tone of the bass. Here you have an LFO that affects the pitch, you have a release gate knob here to make the note shorter, and a machine gun knob that allows you to chop the sound of the bass. And when you have the drum selected, you can change the volume of different parts of the drum kit. This one is for the kick, for the snare, for the hats, and for the other elements. And the bottom row will allow you to change the decay for different elements to make them longer or shorter. So this one will be for the kick, for the snare, for the hats, and for the other elements. Then on the right side you have a ducking knob that allows you to duck the bass once the kick is playing, like a sidechain compressor. And you have an FX amount knob to select the amount of the effects you put in on the loop. And you can choose how strong the effect will be on each of the elements, the bass or the drum, by using this shift button and those knobs for the bass and the drum. You see the little send effects here. To hear the effect though, you need to activate it with this button, FX on or off. And to select the type of effects you're using, you can use function and effects here, FX type. And then with the value knob, you can choose the type of effects you're using. This is a chorus, a flanger, a delay, different kind of delays, a beat crusher, some reverb with a whole room, a different type of reverb, distortion, low pass filter, high pass filter, etc. So I will activate it and progressively turn the amounts up. So this was a quick overview for this machine, the LIVEN Bass and Beats. I hope you liked it. I will come back later with a lot more complete review/tutorial. I will talk a lot more in details about all the functions and effects and modes that this machine has. So if you don't want to miss it, subscribe to the channel. In the meantime, I thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.